The night settled over the colony, but Ethan didn't sleep. He and Lyra had spent hours preparing for the next move. The first skirmish had shown them just how dangerous the pirates were, and the artifact they sought could not fall into the wrong hands. The hum of her teleportation device on the table reminded him constantly of the urgency. Lyra sat beside him, watching the dim glow of the city lights outside. "The pirates will return," she said softly. "They will not stop until they have the artifact." Ethan nodded. "Then we don't wait for them. We find it first." Her eyes widened slightly. "You wish to take the fight to them?" "Yes," Ethan said firmly. "I've faced tricky situations before, and I'm not afraid to think fast. We use what we have, and we use it smart." Lyra studied him, admiration flickering in her gaze. "Humans, you are unpredictable. Perhaps that is your strength." They packed lightly, taking only what they could carry in case a sudden teleport was needed. Lyra adjusted her device, now partially stabilized thanks to Ethan's modifications, and together, they slipped into the night. The city was quiet, with only the soft hum of distant traffic and occasional drone lights moving across the skyline. Their journey took them to the outskirts of the colony, where the terrain became rugged, filled with jagged rocks and deep canyons. Lyra's knowledge of interstellar tracking guided them. She explained that the artifact emitted a unique energy signature that could be traced across planets if one had the right instruments. Ethan improvised, using a combination of his human-made sensors and her alien technology, to follow the trail. Hours passed as they trekked through uneven terrain. Occasionally they paused to hide from patrols, or to use the teleportation device to cover distances quickly. Ethan found himself marveling at Lyra's abilities. She could teleport short distances with precision, evade detection, and manipulate energy fields to create defensive barriers. Yet she always deferred to his tactical suggestions, and he began to see the balance in their partnership, human ingenuity combined with alien powers. By mid-afternoon, they reached the outskirts of an abandoned space station orbiting a small rocky planet. The station was decrepit, with broken panels and half-lit corridors, but energy signatures confirmed the artifact was inside. Lyra's eyes narrowed. "This is it. The pirates have taken shelter here. They know the artifact is here, but they do not expect intruders." Ethan's mind raced. "Then let's be the intruders they don't expect." They moved carefully through the station, using shadows and narrow passages to avoid detection. Lyra teleported silently from one corridor to another, while Ethan's sensors mapped the layout. Occasionally they encountered minor patrols, but with a combination of stealth, quick thinking, and occasional tricks like throwing small devices to create distractions, they avoided direct combat. Finally, they reached the main chamber. It was vast, filled with alien machinery, flickering lights, and the unmistakable energy glow of the artifact resting on a pedestal in the center. Guards surrounded it, heavily armed and alert. Ethan looked at Lyra. "That's our prize. Any ideas?" Lyra smiled faintly. "We use both our strengths. I will create a diversion and you act." As she teleported into the center of the room, her hands glowing with energy, a pulse radiated outward, knocking the guards off balance. Ethan sprang into action, using small gadgets to disable security panels, creating temporary force fields to protect them, and moving quickly toward the artifact. The guards recovered quickly, firing blasters and shouting alarms. Lyra teleported among them, dodging attacks and using bursts of energy to push them aside without causing lethal harm. Ethan realized the pirates were skilled but not invincible. His quick thinking allowed them to manipulate the environment, triggering traps and sealing doors to slow the attackers. Finally, they reached the pedestal. Ethan's hands trembled slightly as he lifted the artifact, a small crystalline object glowing faintly with an inner light. Immediately the room shuddered. Lyra shouted, "It reacts to the presence of others, hurry!" With the artifact secured, they began retreating, but the pirates were relentless. Ethan and Lyra moved with precision, using a combination of teleportation and human-devised obstacles to stay ahead. Every corridor presented a new challenge, but together they adapted. Lyra's alien powers complemented Ethan's tactical thinking perfectly, and the bond of trust between them strengthened with every step. Finally, they reached an escape shuttle hidden in the docking bay. Lyra activated her device, ready to teleport them to a safe location, but it began to flicker. Ethan frowned. We need more stability. The device? It might not hold for the jump. Thinking quickly, he connected some of his own tech to her device, stabilizing the energy flow. Lyra nodded, impressed. You adapt quickly. That is why I trusted you. With a flash of light, they teleported safely outside the station, the artifact secure in Ethan's hands. They watched from a safe distance as alarms blared inside, the pirates realizing too late that their treasure had been stolen. Breathing heavily, Ethan laughed. Well, as that was exciting. Lyra smiled, exhaustion clear in her posture. Yes, you humans. Perhaps you are stronger than you know. Not in body, but in spirit. Ethan felt a warmth at her words. And you aliens have skills I couldn't even imagine. I think we make a good team. The journey back to the colony was tense but uneventful. Ethan and Lyra discussed how to safeguard the artifact. Lyra explained that it was a key to energy regulation in her home sector, and if used correctly, it could prevent disasters across multiple planets. Ethan marveled at the responsibility resting in their hands. When they returned to his apartment, the first thing Lyra did was check her device. It is stable now. I can return home safely, she said. Ethan felt a pang of disappointment. Their adventure had created a bond, and the thought of her leaving so soon was difficult. He nodded, hiding his feelings. Then go. Your world needs you. Lyra hesitated, looking at him with those wide, expressive eyes. You have been invaluable. I did not expect to find such trust and skill among humans, perhaps. There is more I would like to see, more I would like to learn. Ethan smiled, understanding her words. Then come back sometime. We'll have more adventures, less dangerous ones, hopefully. A soft glow surrounded her as she prepared for her final teleport. I will return. I promise. Before the light fully enveloped her, she looked at Ethan one last time. You have a human strength I admire. And a heart that is rare. Remember that always, and then she was gone. The apartment was silent once more, but Ethan felt a strange sense of peace. He had faced pirates, alien technology, and interstellar danger, and he had survived not just because of his skills, but because of trust, courage, and friendship. Over the next few days, Ethan reflected on the adventure. He continued his work on engineering projects, but he often found himself gazing at the stars, wondering about Lyra, her world, and the adventures yet to come. One evening, as he settled into bed, he noticed a small glowing object on his pillow, a reminder that his adventure was real. It was a gift from Lyra, a piece of alien crystal humming softly with energy. He smiled, holding it carefully. The galaxy was vast and danger was everywhere. But he knew now that courage, intelligence, and trust could bridge worlds. Humans, he realized, were capable of more than most species believed. And with allies like Lyra, anything was possible. Ethan's life had changed in ways he could never have predicted. A sudden, unexpected teleportation had brought danger, excitement, and friendship into his life. He had faced the unknown, adapted, and survived. And in the quiet moments that followed, he felt ready for whatever the universe would throw at him next. The stars outside shone a little brighter that night, as if acknowledging the bond between a human and an alien, the start of a partnership that might one day change the course of galaxies. Ethan held the crystal close, feeling its soft pulse against his palm. He whispered to the empty room, I'll be ready for whatever comes next. And somewhere across the stars, Lyra smiled, knowing he truly meant it. Ethan had always liked quiet mornings, the kind where the soft hum of the colony's life outside his window barely reached his ears. He stretched lazily in his small bed, his apartment bathed in the pale blue light of the distant sun. Space travel was routine now, but Ethan had no missions or experiments scheduled today. It was a rare morning of peace, or so he thought. A sudden flash of light filled the room, blinding him for a moment. Before he could even sit up, a figure appeared beside him, materializing out of thin air. Ethan froze, staring at the alien woman who now stood in his small apartment. Her eyes were wide with shock, her body frozen in a moment of panic. The air shimmered slightly around her, evidence that she had teleported in, but clearly not by choice. Oh, I'm so sorry, the alien gasped, her voice musical and alien. But Ethan could understand her thanks to his universal translator implant. This was not meant to happen here. Ethan blinked. Okay. First, who are you? And second, why are you standing in my, well, you know? He gestured vaguely at the bed. She froze again, clearly embarrassed, and Ethan realized quickly that she wasn't dangerous. This was an accident. He took a deep breath, letting his initial shock fade. All right, let's just calm down. You didn't just appear here to cause trouble, right? No trouble, she whispered, looking around nervously. I am Lyra. I am from the planet Zithera. I was trying to retrieve something important and something went wrong with my teleportation device. Ethan's curiosity immediately overtook his fear. He had worked on advanced tech before, but interplanetary teleportation? That was far beyond anything he had ever seen. Teleportation device? He repeated. You mean like, you can just appear anywhere? She nodded, a flicker of pride passing through her features. Yes, but it is unstable. I miscalculated the coordinates. She paused, looking down at the device clutched in her hand. I cannot return without help, and I cannot leave the device here. It is too dangerous. Ethan leaned back on his bed, trying to process everything. All right, so you're an alien. You teleported into my apartment by accident and you need my help fixing your device? He raised an eyebrow. This is a lot for a morning. Lyra's lips twitched, almost like a human smile. Yes, and I apologize for the intrusion. Ethan exhaled and gave her a small shrug. Well, accidents happen. Let's see this device then. He took the small, sleek object from her hands. It glowed faintly with an inner blue light, pulsing rhythmically as if alive. Strange symbols flickered across its surface. Alien runes that Ethan couldn't begin to understand. Still, he had a working knowledge of advanced technology and physics, and he immediately began examining it. This is impressive, he muttered. I've never seen energy stabilization like this in anything human-made. He tapped a few controls and the device responded, its glow intensifying slightly. Okay. I think I can stabilize it long enough to get you back home safely. But it's tricky. If I miscalculate... He trailed off, letting her imagination fill in the dangers. Lyra's eyes widened. Yes, if it fails, it could be catastrophic. Not just for me, but potentially for nearby space structures. It is delicate, Ethan nodded. I get it. Don't worry. I've fixed tricky tech before. We'll figure this out together. Over the next hour, the two of them worked side by side. Ethan guided her in explaining the function of her device, asking questions and taking notes. Lyra, though nervous, gradually relaxed as she realized he was competent and not panicking at all. The alien energy she wielded seemed to respond to his calm demeanor. You humans are interesting, Lyra said at one point, glancing at him. You are not very strong physically, yet you face challenges. Bravely. Ethan laughed softly. I guess we have our ways. Brains over brawn, right? She nodded thoughtfully. Brains, yes. That is a rare trait among some species I've encountered. Courage and creativity combined with intellect is uncommon. By mid-morning, Ethan had managed to stabilize the device temporarily. Lyra's teleportation pulses had stopped randomly activating, and her presence in his room no longer caused energy surges. She breathed a sigh of relief. Thank you, she said softly. You have saved me more than you know. I did not expect to find such help among humans. Ethan shrugged. Hey, it's what I do, and, you made my morning unforgettable. He chuckled. Suddenly the room shook slightly. Red warning lights blinked on the device and a low hum filled the air. Ethan looked up, alarmed. I think we have company. Lyra's expression turned serious. Yes, the pirates. They know I was coming. They have been tracking the artifact and they will stop at nothing to take it. Ethan's curiosity mingled with caution. Pirates? You mean like space pirates? Not just thieves? Yes, dangerous ones. Armed with weapons capable of destroying ships and settlements. They stole the artifact and it is crucial we retrieve it. Otherwise, they could use it to control vast regions of space. Ethan nodded slowly. The stakes were higher than he realized. All right, let's do this smart. We need a plan before they arrive. Lyra stepped closer, her hand brushing briefly against his arm. I do not know much about your world, but you have ingenuity. I will rely on you to guide me, Ethan smiled. And I'll rely on you to keep me alive when things get crazy. Deal? Deal, she said, her tone determined. They spent the next hour preparing. Ethan scavenged some defensive tools and gadgets from his apartment, while Lyra adjusted her teleportation device to provide emergency escapes. As they worked, they began sharing small stories about their lives. Ethan talked about his time on the colony, his love for tinkering with tech, and his dream of exploring beyond human-settled planets. Lyra spoke of Zithra, her world of towering crystal cities, and the responsibility she felt to protect her people. Despite the tension, a bond was forming. They laughed at minor mishaps, and Ethan found himself fascinated by her perspective on the universe. Lyra, in turn, admired his calm thinking and ability to improvise under pressure. By afternoon, the hum of approaching ships could be felt. Ethan peered out of the window, seeing faint streaks of light cutting through the sky. "Looks like our guests are arriving early," he said. Lyra's eyes hardened. "Yes, they will not negotiate. We must be ready." The two of them moved carefully. Ethan positioned defensive devices around the apartment, while Lyra prepared to teleport if necessary. When the pirates arrived, their ships hovered silently outside, scanning for any sign of the artifact. Ethan felt a rush of adrenaline, but he kept his focus sharp. The first pirate scout landed on the roof. Ethan triggered a small trap that caused it to stumble, giving Lyra enough time to teleport to a safer position and prepare a defensive pulse. Within moments, the small apartment became a battleground of cunning strategy, quick reflexes, and alien technology. Ethan marveled at her agility and precision. She could move in ways that defied human expectations, and yet, she listened to his suggestions, adjusting her tactics in real time. They were a team, learning to trust each other completely. After what felt like hours but was only minutes, the first wave of pirates retreated. Lyra glanced at Ethan, her eyes softening. "You humans are capable of remarkable things. I'm glad you are with me." Ethan smiled, trying to hide his exhaustion. "Likewise. But we're not done yet. This was only the beginning. The artifact is still out there, and those pirates won't give up easily." Lyra nodded. "I know, but with you I feel hopeful. Together we might succeed where others have failed." As evening fell over the colony, the two of them sat quietly, recovering from the first confrontation. The apartment was slightly damaged but intact, and the danger, though still looming, felt manageable. Ethan looked at Lyra, noticing the fatigue in her eyes and the small smile she gave him. "So, how often do you accidentally teleport into strangers' bedrooms?" he asked lightly, trying to ease the tension. Lyra's lips twitched in amusement. "This is the first time. I hope the last," Ethan chuckled. "I think we can make a deal. You try not to teleport into anyone's bed again, and I promise not to make jokes at your expense too often." They laughed together, the tension of the day slowly giving way to a strange sense of camaraderie. The galaxy outside was vast and dangerous, but for the first time Ethan felt that with Lyra, he could face whatever came next. And Lyra, for her part, felt a spark of trust and admiration for the human who had faced alien technology, pirates and chaos, yet still remained calm, clever, and determined. Together they would track the artifact, confront the pirates, and perhaps discover something neither of them had expected. A friendship that crossed species, worlds, and the very rules of the universe.